My name is Peter Davison. I played the Fifth Doctor, and you're listening to the Fiveish Fangirls.
The tangents of Squeak continue all the way to episode 279 of the Fiveish Fangirls podcast. And I've got names in, well, it's not a hat, it's a big old padded envelope from Amazon, but still. Shaky, 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 shaky. Welcome, everyone, to this week's episode of the Fiveish Fangirls podcast. So glad you could join us. Let's start off like a doer with Rachel Dable and see who joined us this week.
This is Brittany in Bethlehem.
This is Chrissy in Salt Lake City.
This is Holly from Wisconsin.
And this is Rachel in Indianapolis, Indiana. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
All the Americans, happy Memorial Day.
Yes.
Although by the time you hear this, it won't be Memorial Day anymore.
Hope you enjoyed your day off, and
If you got a day off.
yeah, or however you choose to commemorate the day.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, crazy that it's Memorial Day week.
I know.
All things considered. It's
Man,
like, will we
April.
do this again? It's going to be June. So,
It looks like end of May really came here in a hurry.
yeah, really.
It did.
I know.
I feel like the first few months slowed, like really slow, and like now May, like
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
When did that happen?
Yeah. But, yeah, we keep trucking along. That's how these things happen.
Yeah.
Okay, so first up, we need to do the news. And in convention news, I feel slightly better about this.
The grief cycles had a chance to kind of do its thing.
Yeah, but at the same time, it still kind of hurts.
Yeah.
So it's like before, it was okay, but now, that's not so much. This one kind of hurts. But Gen Con for this year has been canceled. Yeah, because of everything going on, they've decided to go ahead and cancel this year's events, which was going to be early part of August. In their announcement, they said if you've already purchased your badge and are willing to roll it forward to next year, that'll help keep staff employed. So if you want to do that, you don't have to do anything. They'll just convert your badge from this year to a badge for next year. If you would like your money back, there are instructions on how to get a refund. But also all badge holders will be getting emails with all those instructions as well. If you booked a hotel through the housing portal, your reservation should be automatically canceled without any fees. If you booked outside of the housing portal, you're going to have to contact the hotel directly, and it'll be up to them to decide whether they want to charge you any fees, I guess.
Yeah. Fingers crossed and have fun.
Yeah. So, I don't book a hotel for Gen Con, so I don't have to worry about that.
Right.
I live close enough.
Yep.
All the pop-up Gen Con events are also going to be canceled. And they're going to contact all respective retailers that those will be happening at. That being said, they don't want the month of August to be absolutely boring for people. So during the dates that the convention would have been happening, July 30th through August 2nd, they will be hosting Gen Con online. To what that will all entail is TBD. So you want to stay tuned to all the Gen Con social medias for further instructions on how exactly that is going to be conducted. Also, that being said, all of the Gen Con gear that's unique to each year, that has a year on it, and the design for that year is available. So, if you plan on, I guess, participating in Gen Con online and want the gear to match, you can still buy the Gen Con 2020 stuff. That's the official Gen Con stuff from Gen Con. Now there are some vendors that do unique stuff, one of the dice companies every year does a set of commemorative dice that's year specific, and they are working on figuring out a way to, because they had everything ready to go to produce those, so they're working with Gen Con to figure out how they can set it up so that people can still buy those, because I know for some people that's a thing that they always have to get every year, is the set of Gen Con year stamped dice. But you'll need to, again, watch the social medias for all of that. And if you're not part of it, go join the Gen Con fans Facebook group. So they do a good job of posting stuff like that. And some of the vendors, a lot of the vendors are part of that group. So they've been posting stuff oh, you can still buy my stuff here, or, all that fun stuff. So we'll see what exactly Gen Con Online entails. I don't know. I guess depending on what they offer will determine how much or little I decide to participate. Because I had applied for a press badge and had been approved. So
hopefully that will roll over till next year for you.
Yeah, because it doesn't mean much to me this year because the press badge is free. So, if I give it back, it's not like I'm giving them money, and I'm not I'm getting any money back. So we'll see what is going to happen. But go ahead and mark your calendars for next year. Gen Con will be August 5th through 8th, 2022. And they have gone ahead and extended their contract with the city through, I think, 2023. Or something like that, 2025. They tacked on a couple extra years on top of the renewal they just did in the last couple of years. So Gen Con will be back and is sticking around for even longer. So there's that. That one kind of hurt when they made the announcement. I knew it was coming more than likely, but still it was because Gen Con's kind of like it's like the big cherry on my summer Sunday of fun, big community that I go to, and they're like, nope, no fun for you. And I'm like, oh.
That's what the C virus said to all of us, is no fun for you.
Yeah.
We're dealing with it, and I know we had a little conversation in our chat with the Vortex boys about cons, and it's I know because some of the chat or some of the chatter over on the FanX pages are like, well, are they canceling? Do we know what's going on? What's this? What's that? And everything is still up in the air. And I also know the same was with Dragon Con, which is the huge one down in Atlanta. And it's because people are like, well, it's so irresponsible for them not to cancel, and I'm like, well, a lot of these places, the contract for the venue has to be canceled first, otherwise they are out a crap ton of money. And the way these conventions are operated, they have to save where they can, so they can't cancel first, the venue has to. So if you're one of those people and your local convention hasn't canceled and you're wondering why, or wondering if they're going to go, well, that's I'm not going to say that is a definitive reason, but that is a reason I have seen bandied about in for other conventions. So
it's at the end of the day, it is a business decision. So we've had several con organizers on the show, and they've not gotten super into the weeds on how these things work, but at the end of the day, to put on even just a small, quote unquote, small convention, where you're even something like in conjunction, where it takes place in a single hotel, and the ballroom and some of the meeting rooms. But even then, these cons have to pony up the money for those things up front. And hope
And-
that badge sales and people buying vendor tables and making donations in some
and
cases.
insurance
Yeah.
in case something would go, heaven
Yeah.
forbid, wrong.
Yeah.
You're
so-
covered.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I mean, I know there's one convention that we've been wanting to go to. We just haven't been able to go. It's called LibertyCon. It's out in Chattanooga. A lot of our friends go. That one is canceled, but that one is a smaller one at a hotel down there. So it's like, yeah.
Mhm.
So they're just doing online stuff. So anyway, that just reminded me of our conversation about, because I guess Planet Comic-Con in Kansas City has not said one way or the other if they are. This is all according to Sean.
Well, I think
Sorry,
Planet Comic-Con rescheduled.
Or they okay, yeah, because they're usually in March.
Yeah.
Then they're rescheduled for August, I believe. This is all,
Something like
second.
that.
But yeah, so that's what's going on in the con world. But I mean, I've seen a lot of places that have, like Gen Con's doing online, or doing like some smaller online panel type things. So
Mhm.
we're not completely bereft, but like you said, it is disappointing.
Yeah.
Which that's the tagline for 2020.
Yeah.
I saw a meme on Facebook saying, do I have to add this year to my age? I didn't actually use it.
Mm-hmm. Can we re-roll, or it's almost like the podcast Roll to Fail,
Yeah.
where the most current season I've been listening to, their dice roll, it's reversed. So if you get 20 or higher, it's bad. 10 or higher, it's bad.
Oh.
And 9 to 0 is like you're 20, and it's just like, man, maybe we got that.
Yeah.
Can we re-roll, please?
Yeah. The episode is not up for you guys to hear it yet, but right now this year is feeling like last week's D&D session.
Yeah.
Once that goes up, you will completely
understand why.
Yeah.
Whew. Boy, howdy.
Yeah.
and then there happened to be an internet outage in my area. After
Yeah,
that.
on top of everything else.
I think it was trying to save me from the. Like,
I think it was.
We'll be nice. We'll kick you off.
Yeah.
And have you try to get back on somehow.
Yeah. Like, it's obvious this is not going your way. Just leave.
Pretty much.
Yeah,
Go.
Pretty
Go
much.
sit in a
It's like-
corner and think about what
Read.
you've done.
Yeah.
and hope you level up.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. You'll get to hear all that once I finish editing the show.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And you'll get
the
some of
session.
the in jokes.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was a bit of a comedy of errors last week. Let's just say that.
Yeah.
Without
Yeah.
spoiling things.
Yeah. So,
Anyway.
speaking of D&D, that's a nice segue there. For D&D, and I didn't know this was a thing, and actually till I was listening to a bonus episode of True North Nerds, actually, when they were talking about RPGs, and one of the guys was talking about how he went to D&D Live and actually got to play. So Wizards of the Coast does D&D Live, so it's like a con specifically for D&D, but obviously with everything going on, it's not going to be a in-person event, but that being said, they're not going to not do it, so it will be online. But the live event, the main live event, they're calling it Roll with Advantage, and this is going to be June 18th through 20th, so not that far from now. But the event is going to reveal new D&D, a new D&D adventure coming out later this year, but is also going to help raise money for Red Nose Day, which most of us know about. But they are going to have a celebrity, essentially stacked like D&D game with people like David Harbour from Stranger Things and Brandon Routh and Deborah Ann Wall and Matthew Lillard, which Matthew Lillard actually comes to Gen Con on a semi-regular basis. So he's still going to get his fix, apparently. Yeah, so they're going to have that. They're going to do live gaming sessions to help raise money for Red Nose Day. You can visit the website for the schedule. It's going to be broadcast on YouTube and Twitch. So you can get your fix there.
Whichever platform you feel more comfortable watching.
Yep, it's going to be on free on both. So
yeah, and they're revealing the new D&D adventure. It says it's going to be set in a frozen climate, and I'm like, ooh, this sounds interesting, because one of my early characters that I really love, and I have painted a mini for her already, is basically it's an ice sorceress, and I'm the whole backstory Jared and I worked out for. It was really cool and fun. I mean, it's not something I could like write up probably, because it's got way too many references to other things, but it's like, she's awesome. So I'm like, I could transplant her into there, and it would work.
Sweet.
So, well, I'm looking forward to this. Hopefully, I'll get to watch at least some of it. That's one thing I'm finding. It's like all these things that are going on Twitch and YouTube, and the Doctor Who live tweets. I have to do it after the fact because little ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's okay. I still get to enjoy it in some capacity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, so.
And you watch it afterwards, you pause, you get to go do something and come back.
Yes. That is nice.
Yes, I know. I have tried to do like the Doctor Who tweet-alongs, a couple of them, and then some of them, when I've done it, he's just come in and sat down by me. Other times he like needs something, and so I have to leave it playing so I don't get behind on the tweeting, but then I don't get to tweet as much. So it's a balancing act. But then later it's just fun to look at the tweets of everyone else's tweets, especially the special guest tweeters that have behind the scenes thingies going on, or the videos of the extra content they put out. So I am finding the silver lining and all that. But yes.
So I find it easier to like read up the tweets afterwards because they're not going real time.
5 million miles an hour.
Yeah, you're like, wait a minute, there's that one. It's in reference to something that was like 10 tweets back, and I gotta go back, and then I missed something, and there is definitely an art to live tweeting.
Yep.
Yes.
But yeah. Speaking of Doctor Who, this news dropped, and I've been kind of figuring out my collection and how I can fill in the gaps with all this. But Big Finish has made a pretty significant announcement just today, and it's still new, and so we're still kind of working out the details of how this works. But they are revamping the way that they do their audio ranges. Basically, if you know how Big Finish works, the Doctor Who stuff, they have their main range or their monthly adventures, which cycles through, these days it cycles through 5th, 6th, and 7th Doctors. Earlier it had the 8th, but then he spun off into his own range. Plus they have all these spin-offs and box sets and all these other things. And they've gotten into the 200 and probably 50, 60 area. I've lost count. But basically what they're doing is the main range is going to end with release number 275, which I guess is early next year. And after that, they're going to have, basically, as I understand this, and I could be wrong after reading this, I've read this several times since.
But I have too, and it can be interpreted numerous ways.
Yeah, so they'll still be doing 5, 6, and 7, 5th, 6th, and 7th Doctors, but instead of them being in a range, like cycling through a monthly range, they're going to have regular box sets, I think.
That's the way I'm interpreting
it.
Which might make it easier if you're wanting to stick with like a particular doctor, maybe
plot
points.
Yeah.
Because if you look at like the mainline range and the numbers, it bounces around from like 5th Doctor, 7th Doctor, 8th Doctor, 4th
Right.
Doctor, blah, blah, blah,
And-
blah, blah. So.
And it has, and like every doctor has their own storyline. Like I'm going through an order because I just came to the point and I'm like, I don't know what's going on. I want to listen to all of them and get the stories. But then like you'll listen to like 3 7th Doctor stories in a row, and then it'll jump to a bunch of 5th Doctor ones. And then you'll forget, then you get back to the 7th Doctor, I'm like, oh, right, what was going on with that story? I don't remember. So I can understand why they want to do this. The collecting them is going to be interesting because, like, if you're, because I had a subscription for a little while, then I had to cancel it, and so I've fallen behind. So if you, because they do have a way for you to kind of fill in those gaps, sort of. So instead of the 6-month or 12-month subscription, they're going to offer 3-month subscriptions. So if you have a gap where you're like, I only need 3 more here, then you can get that. The only problem is I don't have a gap that's 3, but I do. But my end one, when all is said and done, I have like, I don't know, 36 or something that I have to fill in there once the last one's released. So, and it sounds like they have some other ideas, like so instead of the range just being 5, 6, and 7, it's also going to cycle through 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 8, and also I guess probably 10 and some of the other.
I think they set up the 12th Doctor. Yeah.
Yeah. So they can. So it sounds like they're going to consolidate all of the Doctor Who Doctor stuff into its own thing, into its own release schedule.
And they haven't made mention if they're going to still stick with the monthly range for Torchwood after 2021, because I know it's good through March, and then I don't know if they're going to do, a box set thing for them on out.
Yeah, I mean I guess we'll find out, like, because as long as they have the license, they'll keep making it.
Right.
Releasing them.
I kind of like the idea of the box set, because then you get more of a concise story.
Yeah, and there it all is all together, and then you're done. Although I did see some people mention like Dark Eyes and Doom Coalition. Like, what was the other one? Doom Coalition. It was actually like 4 box sets for one story.
And I think then the Vienna Chronicles, and I know some of the stuff with Gallifrey, now that they're into their own Time War thing, and then you've got the 8th Doctor's Time War, and then you got the War Doctor's Time War, and then I think you've got something with the Master, and it's just like,
yeah, they got the War Master.
Yeah,
right.
And then they put out a box set where Susan gets roped into the Time War, and it's all over the place. So I think this is a way for them to kind of rein in some of that. We've got stuff spread all over the place.
Maybe make it more condensed and like, okay, here's our Time War series.
Yeah, like if you want anything related to the Time War, listen to these. If you want
here,
6th Doctor and Evelyn, listen to all of these.
Right.
Like
maybe they'll do it later on down the line. Maybe that's what they'll do too, is they'll do bundles. It's like, okay, if you're looking for this Doctor with this companion, here's the bundle package of all the episodes you need.
Yeah, they do have it to where you can search that way, I think.
It can be, but then it's kind of a little hit and miss, because I tried to do that for one thing, and there was a couple scragglers.
Yeah, so it's not
fit.
It's not an exact science yet, and I mean we're just reading it off a description
press
release. Press release. So and there's still like people asking like, how's this going to work? Is it going to work this way?
I think they're still in the planning phases too. It's just like I think they wanted to give everybody a jump start, saying, hey, this is coming down the line.
Yeah, well, and they record things so early anyway, because that's what they were saying when the pandemic hit and things started getting shut down, and Big Finish is like, well, we have a few already in the pipeline ready to go, and this, if hopefully this won't set us back too much. Sounds like it's not, because they're already for 2022.
And most of the voice actors, if they're in different parts, they've already got their own little mini recording studios at their own
Yeah.
place.
Peter Davison has been gradually upgrading his closet.
Yeah, he has the zero room in his house.
I love how his dog kind of blended in at the bottom. It's like, is that a dog or does he have a fuzzy boom mic? Like, nope, that's Puppy.
I know.
It's like
A
you're posted like
non-robotic
him in the closet, like surrounded, but just felt like stuff.
and he's
a
wearing
microphone.
jeans.
And then it's gradually gone on to like now he's got a better chair, and there's he's got like actual foam, and the outside of the door of the closet now looks like the TARDIS.
And he's got the round things. And he's got the round things.
So everyone is adapting to home recording as best they can.
Yeah.
Some of them are building their own zero rooms.
Yes.
Exactly.
Oh my. It's been glorious to watch the progress pictures. Like, oh no, now I've added foam padding for better,
Yeah.
sound
And for
absorption.
those of you who have not checked out the Doctors Assemble on YouTube, do so.
Yes.
I
that was
haven't
so
laughed
funny.
hard in
That
my
was-
life.
That was hilarious. That was beautiful.
Yeah.
I enjoyed that.
Yeah, there's not. I don't know what it is, but there's something about the doctor arguing with themselves,
Exactly.
and not like when you're talking to yourself and you're trying to talk yourself out of like no, because the doctor literally can argue with themselves in a different incarnation. So
Yes.
you got
and Rachel, your doctor was funnier than all get. Cat pictures.
I know. And it's
I like
they
how
say-
my doctor had a lot to do with helping out. I'm just going to leave it at that.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
At first it didn't seem that way, but oh my goodness. Yes,
Oh,
that was beautiful.
yeah, and
So
I'm
anyway.
impressed I'm impressed with some of the voices, because it was just a handful of voice actors doing multiple doctors, and some of them were really spot on. So there were several where I'm like, no, not quite.
Not quite, yeah, but then there were a couple of them was like, oh boy.
But yeah, there were a couple of them like, that's kind of scary how well you sound like them. Except for one. There is one actual literal doctor, and I'm not going to spoil who it is. But one of the voice actors is one of the actual doctors.
Yeah.
So.
But no, yeah, it was great. And I mean, I think a lot of those voice actors, at least one of them I know has done work with Big Finish, and so it's like, you're the rest of them. You guys need to, have them on a speed dial just in case.
Yeah,
but get them.
Well,
it was Big Finish.
Yeah, it was fun for them to be able to show off the talents of some of these voice actors.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like they need work. It's like they can do work too, and a lot of them, they can work from home and just about anywhere. So it's like if you need voiceover work, here you go. Here's a handful of people, and you can hear their versatility. You've got like one guy who does like half of the doctors. So that was impressive. But anyway,
it was
quite
good. So anyway, so there's Big Finish still going strong and still keeping us sane and
taking our money.
Taking our money. Which, you know what, they're a small business. I'm glad they can continue to operate, but they're doing great. And
a little side tangent with housekeeping. For speaking of Big Finish, the poll ended on the 17th of this month for the yay or nay to adding Big Finish into the book club, and it was met with a yay. So there will probably be maybe one audiobook option, maybe more, hard to say. So if there's any that you're dying to discuss, please message the Goodreads group with your suggestions, and
or you can tweet at us,
or tweet at us. Yep,
messages on Facebook. All that works. It doesn't have to be through Goodreads if you don't want to.
Yep.
So. Yep, and kind of staying in well, we're staying in British territory, the BBC.
Yep.
Um,
And it's kind
There's
of
Doctor Who
related.
connection.
yes,
Connections.
yes.
So
there are Doctor Who
it
connections.
works.
Yes.
It works.
So the BBC, BBC One has announced a comedy that's going to start airing in June, so very soon, called Staged. It's going to, even based on the description, I'm kind of struggling on how exactly this is going to work, but apparently it's going to be the story of a cast of a play who are supposed to be the best of the best when it comes to British acting talent, who were getting ready to do a production on the West End, but because of everything going on, it gets shut down. They all get furloughed, but they decide that they want to keep rehearsing and everything so that when everything opens up, they can be ready to go. I guess it's going to be actors, in rehearsals, and probably, I'm sure, quote unquote, real life will come in, get in their way, essentially what I guess a humorous way of what a stage actor's life could be like during the lockdown, I guess, is the best way to put it. But they're going to be real short episodes. They're going to be like 15 minutes a piece, but it is going to star David Tennant and Michael Sheen. So we're getting a Good Omens reunion, as if we hadn't had one already, with the Good Omens in lockdown that we got recently.
Yep. And Georgia Tennant and Lucy Eaton are going to be making guest appearances as well.
Yes. Yep. So they have shared like a short, like little clip of David and Michael just kind of chatting, I guess, quote unquote, in character. So, and it's up on social. I know Georgia shared it on her Instagram. She was teasing it. She's like, "Oh, big announcement tomorrow." No, I'm not pregnant. She's had 5 kids, so
it's okay if she's done.
Yeah. I mean, the youngest it hasn't been that long, so
yeah.
So she shared a short snippet of it, and it's really just David and Michael, I think, taking the piss out of each other. So it's just hilarious. So those two together are just.
I've watched that clip. It's like 45 seconds to a minute, something like that.
Yeah.
I've watched it so many times, and it was.
Yeah, those two, just the friendship there is just like, you two are sunshine in this dumpster fire that is the world at the moment. So
I hope they do more stuff later on. Like, they just have great chemistry.
Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely.
I would love it. Like, I already like them individually. Like, I love seeing them in other stuff. I would love them with more projects. So.
Yep.
I'm excited.
So that will be airing on BBC One, and then will be available up on BBC iPlayer after it airs on TV. And no idea yet how us Americans may be able to get our hands on it. So
unless the iPlayer will be nice and not have this region locked.
Yeah.
Because occasionally you can get iPlayer to would have region unlocked.
Yeah, so hopefully this
not
will be
always
one of them.
though.
Not always, so hopefully this will be one of them.
Yeah.
That'll say,
dear BBC, please and thank you.
Or how much could we contribute for you to pop it up on Amazon Prime and we do a little season pass?
Yeah.
I do that.
It's 15 minutes a piece. There's going to be 6 episodes, so it's only going to be a couple hours of TV.
Right.
Yeah.
We'll take it. We'll take it.
Like, I'll buy like a 1-disc DVD.
Yeah, really.
Mhm.
Something.
Yeah.
Just say like this.
Please and thank you.
Yes.
All right. Well, that is it for the news. So we've already taken care of the housekeeping. So
Mhm.
at least until we get into the new month.
Yep.
So we shall move on to this week's main topic. So let me get my bag,
Mhm.
my bubble wrap lined giant envelope here from Amazon, because it was readily available instead of me having to go all the way to the other side of the house to get a hat.
Hey, whatever works.
Yep. So,
Indeed.
and I made new slips.
Yay!
I
Huzzah.
rewrote all of them on all the same piece of paper, so there's a bit more uniformity when it comes to slip size. So hopefully they won't stick together as much, and I won't pull out a handful of them. And for those that may be new to this particular thing, which at this point, I mean, I guess if you're new to the podcast, you could be new to this. So, but this is not a new thing we've been doing. This is actually the 10th time we've done this, actually.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, we
Actually,
still have lots of paper in here. Lots of slips of paper in here.
That actually speaks well of us being able to find topics.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, so every now and then, when we need a topic to fill in the schedule, we have slips of paper with celebrity names on them. Most of them are actors and actresses. There are some folks on here that maybe aren't well known as an actor or actress first, but they have done some acting. But yeah, we've got people that are talented in lots of ways. Some sing, some dance, act, do art, whatever. And we pull them, well, I pulled them because it's just me. But we pull them blindly out, and then we kind of just talk about what we know about this person, what we know them from, recommendations, things that need to be added to our to watch or to read or to whatever list. So those lists keep growing. But yeah, I'm going to, after shuffling the new slips of paper up, I'm going to grab one. And I ended up with 3. No, only one. Yeah. I only need one at a time. We may do more than one in this show, in this episode, but we do one person at a time. Thank you very much.
That would be kind of hard to try to talk about 3 at the same time.
Yeah.
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 Unless they mysteriously all 3 happen to be in the same production of something.
Yeah.
Which, with all lists, that's really possible, so.
Yeah. Yep. So, and then an added thing that we've been doing is I make the rest of you guys guess.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Who it is.
What are our vague clues?
Yep. Okay.
Please don't make them as bad as some of the Masked Singers, please.
Yeah.
Oh, dear Lord. That's a topic for another day.
Yeah, really. So this American actor, director, and producer has had several roles in television and independent film. Let's see. His birthday is July 8th, 1977. He is from Anaheim, California.
Notice she doesn't ever give us hints about what this person could have been in.
Well, that would give it away.
I know, that's the thing.
They are currently starring in a TV series that is still currently on air on a major network.
Okay.
He has also been in another TV series that we have talked about on this show, on this podcast.
Okay.
I feel like I need to narrate my thinking face. That's the thing is, like, you know, a lot of you say it's an American actor, actress, say they're from California, and I'm like, okay.
What are the TV show on a major network we've talked about? Is the show that this actor currently on? Have we talked about
the show that they're currently on? No, we have not talked about that show, but the show that they were previously on, or a show that they were previously on, we have talked about a couple of times, actually.
Would it be giving it away to tell us the genre of the show that we talked about?
Well, I mean, for the most part, we talk about.
Well, I know,
same type of TV show.
I'm looking for hints.
Yes.
Well, according to Wikipedia, they classify that particular television show as a American superhero drama. So.
What's his name? Give me a second. Is it Milo? What's his last name?
Ventimiglia?
Yes. Him? I'm glad you guys attempted to say his last name, because I wouldn't have. I know if I was like, and I cannot pronounce his last name, that definitely wouldn't have given it away.
I know. I was thinking superhero. It could have been Heroes, or it could have been Arrow, or but not in a while. But anyway, or one of those Arrowverse shows.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, so Milo Anthony, I'm not even going to try to pronounce his last name. Thank you very much.
Ventimiglia? Something along those lines. Milo V.
No, I think that is it. It's Ventimiglia.
It's Italian, so
yes,
it's not pronounced how it looks.
Nope.
Yeah. Yes, so he was played Peter Petrelli in Heroes. So.
Mm-hmm. And the dad on This Is Us.
Yes, which is what he is currently on, which I've not watched because I don't really want to cry while watching TV. Thank you.
Smart move.
I was gonna say I watched the first season and I really like it. I meant to keep going, but life and then it what I know from this episode, the trailers, I'm like, ooh, it's getting really.
Yeah, I'm to the point where I was just like, I'm gonna wait till they call final season and then start back and watch from the beginning, and then don't have to do the suspense and the this is killing me. At least I can go, okay. Boom, 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 boom.
Yeah,
I'm like,
done.
Yeah, it's definitely one I've heard of. But every time I hear about it, people are all like, "Oh my gosh, I bawled so much." And I'm like, I don't know if I want to bawl at a show.
I mean, the writing's good, but every single time feels.
Yeah.
I mean, our shows are bad enough as it is.
Yeah, it's like
I get this one
feels already. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Yeah, speaking of in 2 days from now, I wonder how much feels we're going to have with the opening episode of a certain
other superhero show.
Yeah. Yes.
Exactly. So
I remember when they were. Oh.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, I remember when they were advertising This Is Us, they were calling it a dramedy. So I'm like, ooh, it's going to be funny with some drama. It's like more drama than anything.
Yeah.
It's like
just because you tell a few jokes doesn't make it doesn't give it the humor.
Just because one of the characters is almost a stand-up comic or an actor in a sitcom, not a whole lot of comedy going on.
Just because they reference Weird Al in one of the episodes does not make it a comedy.
Oh gosh.
I do like.
I was gonna say, like, I mean, there were some moments of levity in Chernobyl. Not many,
Yeah.
but a few.
Yeah.
So Milo, from Anaheim, California. He is the youngest child of Carol and Peter. He has two older sisters, Leslie and Laurel. His father is Italian Sicilian, hence the last name. He has a self-described crooked mouth, having been born with damaged nerves, causing the left side of his mouth to remain immobile.
I've never noticed that.
And he was also on Gilmore Girls.
Mm-hmm. Which I have not watched either.
Apparently, his first acting role was in an episode of The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Mm-hmm.
I guess #1.
Brittany. He was actually on Gotham.
That's right. He did not play a good guy in that one, if I remember. He played a good serial killer.
I completely forgot about that until scrolling through the IMDb.
So, yeah,
He was in the animated Wolverine.
Yeah, I really only know him from Heroes.
Heroes.
Yep. So, but I know that he's gotten the entire cast, but he has gotten a lot of acclaim from This Is Us.
Yeah.
So he's been nominated for an Emmy and. So.
I mean, like I haven't seen much of like you. Like I've seen Heroes. I watched a little bit of This Is Us. He's a good actor.
Mm-hmm.
He actually doesn't really have.
I like how they kept, not that I've seen him, but I like how they kept the continuity because he played Rocky Balboa Jr. in the movie Rocky Balboa in 2006, and then they brought him back in 2018 for Creed 2.
Mm-hmm.
Oh. But yeah, it looks like he's done more TV than he has movies. So
Yeah.
I remember seeing the commercials and the trailers and stuff for The Art of Racing in the Rain. But it didn't necessarily look like something I would want to watch. So. Yeah, and he's cut his teeth on a lot of the same place a lot of actors have. He's been on CSI and and a version of Law and Order.
I feel like
that's what everybody does at some point.
Like if you're American, you're going to be on at least one episode of CSI,
either CSI or Law and Order.
Law and Order, yep.
Either as the victim
or
as the killer.
NCIS.
Yeah.
You know.
Or you go play a corpse.
Yes.
Yeah. Corpse, bad guy, sketchy boyfriend.
Yep. Although apparently he's going to be playing Evel Knievel in an upcoming miniseries.
Interesting.
I'll have to check that one out.
Very interesting.
I like how with the backup, it says that he's only in episodes 1 and episode 5. Even though I'm pretty sure this is because it's not completed.
Yeah. Excuse me. Yeah, his resume is not very long. So, not that there's anything wrong with that.
Got to start somewhere.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, and This Is Us, I'm sure,
Yeah.
takes up a lot of his time.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I think if that's one that we had all watched and we're avid fans of, we'd be sitting here gushing about it. Which, I'm like I've said, I've only heard good things about it, other than you cry every other minute, and I'm like, that's not. I mean, that's just it's not my thing. It's not what I enjoy. But if people love it, I'm happy for them.
I watched the first 2 seasons religiously. Got through the first couple of season 3, and it's like, yeah, I need to take a breather.
Mm-hmm.
I will come back to you when you're completed your run.
Yeah.
Yes. And then it's like you could binge a few episodes and be like, okay, I've had enough. I'm going to go watch something else and then go from there.
Yeah.
And watch, we'll probably get feedback.
Supernatural.
Yeah. Watch, we'll get feedback from somebody like, no, it's really great. You just need to watch it. It's not that bad.
I agree with you. It's great, but I need smaller doses.
Yes.
What? There's one episode per week. Yeah, but I've got other shows that have about the same amount of feels too.
Yeah.
I have to limit that intake per week.
So, if you have any disagreements, send your feedback to fangirls@gmail.com.
We will use them to toast s'mores.
So tell us what we're missing on this, and we'll get back to you. Lottie's even giggling about that.
Yeah. She's like, you crazy people.
Yes.
Nope. Oh, right. Well, let's do another one.
Sounds good to me.
Yes,
That's a little
let's do.
short there, and I've already pulled it while you guys were talking.
Okay.
Save some time.
Yep.
Save some time. Okay, so this person is a British actress.
Okay.
She is from London, England. Birthday is March 26, 1985. So she is younger than me.
Only older than me by 2 months.
Yeah. So
And I'm not gonna say.
let's see. According to her Wikipedia entry, her starring roles in independent films and period dramas have earned her nominations for 2 British Academy Film Awards, 3 Golden Globe Awards, 2 Academy Awards. She's also worked at many Hollywood productions and was one of the highest paid actresses in the world in the late 2000s.
Has she done the trip in a blue box?
No.
Okay.
I'm going to throw this one out there. Is it Keira Knightley?
Yes!
Oh, okay.
Ooh, nice one,
one.
Chrissy. That's the second time you've done that, because the last time we had the actors out of the hat, you guessed right away.
Oh, yeah. I don't remember which
roll.
actor that was, but I did. But I don't know, when you said period drama, I'm like, well, Keira Knightley was in Pride and Prejudice, and I know she's been nominated for awards, so sure. Anyway, cool. Yep. Keira Knightley.
Keira Christina Knightley. OBE.
Ooh, nice.
So, not quite a dame, but she's working her way up there.
There's a ladder of success.
Not bad,
to this, apparently.
Yeah. We've had this discussion before, so
we have. Let's not go down that rabbit hole.
Even then, that's not bad at age 35.
Oh no.
So.
No.
Yeah. So she was born in Teddington, which is within Richmond, which is a suburban area of London. Both her parents were theater actors. Her mother is Scottish. Her father is English. Her name was actually supposed to be K-I-E-R-A, which is another form of the name Kira, K-I-R-A, after Kira Ivanova, who was a Soviet figure skater that apparently her dad was a huge fan of. However, her mom misspelled the name when she went to fill out the paperwork, writing the E before the I. So
that has happened to many a child, I'm sure.
Yeah.
In all the hustle and bustle of having babies.
Yeah.
In fact, when I've gone in to have my babies, they said, "Okay, fill out the paperwork before you get induced."
Yeah, before you pump me full of drugs.
Yes. Make sure everything's correct before things get crazy. I'm like, okay. But anyway, don't want to go down too far that tangent.
Yeah. She has an older brother, Caleb. And so her mother also worked as a playwright after she ended her acting career, and she made sure to introduce her children to theater and ballet at an early age. And apparently Kira requested an agent at the age of 3.
Okay, that's awesome.
Yeah. She attended Teddington School. At the age of 6, she was diagnosed with dyslexia. But by the time she was 11, she had figured out how to work with it. Although she is still considers herself a slow reader. She said she was single-minded about acting during her childhood. And she did get that agent she asked for at the age of 3 when she turned 6. From then, she started taking on small parts in TV dramas and also working in local amateur productions, which included After Juliet, which was written by her mother, and a program or play or something called United States, which was written by a drama teacher. She focused on art history and English literature while studying at the Esher College, but then left after a year to pursue acting. Her first on-screen appearance was in 1993 in a Screen One television episode titled Royal Celebration. And then she went on to do a bunch of made-for-TV films in the mid to late 90s, including Innocent Lies, The Treasure Seekers, Coming Home, Oliver Twist, because if you're British, you have to do Shakespeare and Dickens at some point. She played Sabe, who is Padme's decoy in Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace.
Which that floored me when I learned about that, because she was, because you said her birthday was in 85. She's just a little bit older than me, and I was like, and I was 14 when that movie came out, which was Padme's actual age in the show, even though Natalie Portman was a little older. But I was like, oh wow, so someone who was actually 14 played her decoy. I'm like, okay, cool. And then I realized it was Keira Knightley, and like, because I found this out, when she's in Pirates of the Caribbean and all that stuff, and I'm like, okay, that's just bizarre, but sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, my mind was kind of like, wait, I didn't make that connection for a while. Like, wait, that was who that, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, those two, they look, now that they've gotten older, it's not as eerily similar looking, but definitely when they were younger, if I tried to conjure like the image of one of them in my head, my brain would just get confused.
Yeah. Like, there were a couple. There were some movie trailers. I was going to say, there's some movie trailers that I would look at. I'm like, okay, is that Natalie Portman or Keira Knightley? And it wouldn't be, they'd have to, start saying the cast. I'm like, oh, now I know who. Now I see it.
Yeah,
because it's Phantom Menace. For one of her handmaids, I thought Natalie Portman was playing 2 roles.
yeah,
Until I found, oh no, that's Keira Knightley.
yeah.
Okay, sweet.
Yeah, so that was, according to their mothers, they even had trouble telling them apart once they were in full makeup.
Wow.
Yeah, so her first major role was in a 2001 Walt Disney production feature film, Princess of Thieves, where she plays the daughter of Robin Hood.
Wait. I remember that one. Holy crap. I think it was on Disney Channel. I don't know if it was a Disney Channel movie, but I remember seeing it on Disney Channel, I think. Maybe? I don't know. Maybe I'm misremembering.
I've never heard of it.
I remember seeing it. I do. And it was a made-for-TV thing. It was fine. I enjoyed it for what it was.
It was A Wonderful World of Disney in 2001. Malcolm McDowell was in it as Sheriff John, Jonathan Haidt as Prince John, Stuart Wilson as Robin Hood. Yep.
Yeah, okay. I was like, I remember that one. And
might have watched. I don't remember, but I mean, I was the right age. So
yeah. Well,
watched it.
The early 2000s were kind of a weird time for Disney.
Yeah, they were.
True.
So, but yeah, now that you say that, I'm like, oh my gosh, I remember that one.
Mm-hmm.
So to prepare for that film, she trained for several weeks in archery, fencing, and horse riding, which I'm sure that fencing came in handy a little later.
As we will see.
Yeah. She had a role in a 2002 miniseries adaptation of Dr. Zhivago. That's one that gets made over and over again.
Because wasn't it done recently too?
I'm sure it probably has been. That's just one of those that gets.
I don't think I've seen any version.
Yeah, it's just that. Yeah. She still didn't really break through as an actress until 2002, where she did Bend It Like Beckham.
That's right. I forgot she was in that.
Yep.
I haven't seen it probably since 2002.
Yeah.
Yeah. Gosh, now that you're saying all these things, I'm like, oh my gosh, I remember all this. I didn't actually see the movie, but I remember. I mean, you're gonna get to this one eventually or soon.
Yeah.
When Pirates came out. And everyone was saying, that's the girl from Bend It Like Beckham. And I was like, oh, yeah, that was that movie.
Yeah.
Okay, weird. But, okay, we're going with it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that was 2002. 2003, she lands a role of Elizabeth Swann in the Pirates of the Caribbean, what would become the Pirates of the Caribbean franchise. Obviously, the first movie, The Curse of the Black Pearl, which was based on one of my absolute favorite attractions of all time in any Disney park, Pirates of the Caribbean, where they took the attraction and inspired a movie, and in turn inspired changes to the attraction.
It's just one big cycle.
It is.
That was that odd time again in Disney's history. They did a Country Bears movie, they did a Haunted Mansion movie. Those ones didn't go quite so well, but Pirates of the Caribbean took off like wildfire. And
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because it was not, it was not expected to actually do that well. It had a $135 million budget, which obviously there are a lot of special effects in that one. Anything involving water is usually very expensive for filming, and then you've got the whole the pirates turning into skeletons, eerily familiar to D&D a couple weeks ago. Walking skeletons who can brandish swords. So obviously all that CGI is expensive. Plus it starred Johnny Depp, who at the time was a very well-respected and high-paid actor. So that being said, it did do well and opened number 1 at the box office and became one of the highest-grossing movies of the year and made $654 million worldwide. So that's not bad.
Not at all.
And that has since snowballed into a whole series of movies, which she is not in all of them. She is in the first 3 and makes a very short appearance in number 5. So, and she's not in the 4th one at all.
Yeah.
Yep. So,
which I've only seen the first 3, but I'm not worried about spoilers because I'm not.
Yeah.
But anyway,
they tie up some loose ends from 3 at the end of 5, and that includes having to bring Elizabeth back. So,
yep.
Yeah. But
yeah, and she is, I love that Elizabeth Swann. They took that character and did not allow her in universe. The entire world around her is trying to fit her into this cliche mold of women, in the 18th century, essentially, having to wear corset, being all pretty, wearing fancy dresses from France and all that, and having to marry a good man, having to make a smart match and, make sure she marries, not below her station and all that because she's the daughter of the governor and all those things. And she is in love with the blacksmith's apprentice and wants to be a pirate, essentially. So,
honestly, I will
can drink rum like the best of the pirates.
Exactly.
I will say this because I do read some Regency romance, which is generally that time period, and there are some things that Elizabeth says that have either she is directly influenced characters in Regency romance, like the whole corset, doesn't want to wear a corset, wants to run off and be a pirate or have adventures and sorts of things, or I don't know, maybe the romance novels influenced her. The point being that type of character has gotten around a little bit in different genres and formats and versions. Not that I'm complaining about this, because Elizabeth Swann as a character is a lot of fun, and I love one of the things I love is in the 3rd movie where she's elected Pirate King because Jack Sparrow basically votes her in, and she's just like, she's got and the scene, I'm trying to remember how it goes, but that they're parlaying with Davy Jones, and someone is objecting to what she's doing, and she turns around and just goes, "King," and so what she says goes, and then you do. Of course, her outfit as Pirate King, it's piratey, but there's also a little bit of girliness to it. Not a lot, but just kind of the way she wears it. Yeah. And so it's not like her character is not a man with boobs. Let's say that. Yeah. I hope that it's very worn out and tired. But so as a female pirate, as a female character in an adventure, she holds her own. She's her own character, but she doesn't become a cliche or what would become the cliche that we kind of have nowadays. She's a well-rounded character.
Yep.
Yep.
And she's wonderful, and Keira Knightley plays her lovelily. I can talk. Plays her great. She does a good job. That's what I'm trying to say.
We'll speak like pirates.
Yes.
Make up our own words.
Yeah. She is also in one of my absolute favorite Christmas movies of all time, Love Actually.
Yes.
where she is part of unknowingly part of a love triangle ish, I guess.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, that story.
Yeah, she plays Juliet, who she marries right before Christmas. At the beginning of the movie, she marries a guy named Peter, played by Chiwetel Ejiofor. But the best man, who is Peter's best friend, Mark, played by Andrew Lincoln, of all people, from The Walking Dead, is desperately in love with Juliet, but she thinks that he hates her when really he's madly in love with her. I'm sure, even if you've not seen the movie, you've seen probably some memed version of Mark outside their flat playing music on the boombox with the giant poster boards.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So
Search room.
that's been memed a lot.
I think it's in parody. I think I've seen it in a few
oh yeah,
sketches.
yeah,
Yeah.
yep. So, no, that's one of my favorite Christmas movies. And it gave her, well, not that they don't interact, those characters, but I'm sure that on set at some point she probably got to cross paths with Emma Thompson, who apparently she idolizes. And then she was in a 2004 historical adventure film adaptation, if you want to call it that, of King Arthur. This version with Clive Owen as King Arthur. I have actually seen this, and she plays Guinevere.
Yeah, I saw it in theaters, and I was like, okay. And then the next semester, I was, because I was still in college, next semester I was in a history of England class, and the professor, he hated that one, because it's like, it is so not King Arthur. But that's another discussion.
Trying to remember if I've seen it or not. I've always liked the King Arthur, I've always liked King Arthur Legends, so I've seen quite a few adaptations, and I can't remember if I've seen this one.
It's largely forgettable. I remember the poster. I'm trying to remember really what all happens, but it was it wasn't very good.
Yeah, it was okay. I only watched it because I can't say his name because I can't speak Welsh. What's his face from Forever is in it.
Oh,
he plays Lancelot.
yeah. Grufford or whatever?
Yeah.
It actually is pronounced Griffith.
Griffith?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
It's Welsh.
It's Welsh. But Mr. Fantastic from those other
Yes.
Four movies.
Yes.
Depending on where your fandoms lie.
Or he was in the Horatio Hornblower series as
Yes.
I think Horatio.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was.
And
he was a star there.
Don't remember his character's name, but he was in Titanic too.
Yes, he was the guy. He was the Eddie. Is anyone alive out there? Guy.
Yes.
You'd remember him if you've seen the movie.
But we've covered him in
I know.
We've pulled his name out of a hat, so you can go back and listen to that one, whichever number it is.
Yes.
Like I said, the people on our list.
Well, we are talking about a Brit here. There's only 12 actors. We've already established that. So.
Yes.
There's a lot of interconnectedness.
There is indeed.
Yeah.
Anyway, back to Keira Knightley.
Yes. So in 2005 is when she did what many consider one of her best works, and for some, I guess, probably their favorite adaptation of Jane Austen's Pride and Prejudice.
The funny, I'll take this one.
Yeah.
Yeah. The funny thing about Pride and Prejudice, just in a general sense, is now there is a Jane Austen fandom. It exists. The funny thing is, people get very territorial about which version is their favorite, whether it's the 95 Colin Firth version or the Keira Knightley version. And for me personally, I I'm like, if you've got the 5 hours, watch the 95 one. If you only have a few hours, just a little, just an afternoon or something, watch the Keira Knightley one. Both are great. And Keira Knightley she's a very different Elizabeth than than Jennifer Ale in the 95 one. But the whole story is very different. So it's like you can't really compare the two, other than they're both a Pride and Prejudice adaptation. But even though they're different, they both have they're both true to the source material, which is kind of an odd thing to say, because some people are like, well, there's only one can only be one definitive, and this is what Jane Austen meant, and blah blah blah. And I'm like, well, as long as you stick to the spirit of it, it's still pretty good. And Keira Knightley she's a really, really good Elizabeth Bennet. In fact, now that looking back on it, probably the reason she got that role is probably because of her role as Elizabeth Swann, because Elizabeth is probably a fantasy version of Lizzie Bennet. Honestly, I'm just gonna put it out there right now and say it is if Elizabeth Bennet was in Pirates of the Caribbean, you would have Elizabeth Swann, I think, because she is, for her time, for that time period when Jane Austen was writing, she's kind of the tomboy, she's the adventurer, Austen was writing in a specific time period, and she was in that time period, so you don't have any of the modern sensibilities with it, but sort of those character archetypes of being very forceful, speaking your mind, being a little embarrassed of your family and your social standing, but also being very loving and caring toward them. So yeah, I kind of, this is probably going to be sacrilege in some circles, and I don't care. But I really think the way she played their character in Pirates, same way she played Lizzie Bennet in Pride and Prejudice. And that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. It's just a little more formal and less zombie pirates.
Yeah. Well, others agreed with you with her portrayal, because she got a Best Actress nomination for both the Golden Globes and the Academy Awards for that performance. And actually, her Academy Award nomination made her the third youngest nominee for a Best Actress award. Although she did not get a BAFTA nomination. So, let's see. So she went on to do the second and third in the Pirates. That was Dead Man's Chest, and then at World's End. Then she went on to do some more period pieces. So that gets her to the early 2000s, where she did some stuff that I don't know what it is. A lot of very British stuff. She played a 18th century Duchess in a period drama called The Duchess in 2008. She was going to do a film adaptation of King Lear, again Shakespeare, which was going to star her and Anthony Hopkins, but it was canceled due to the financial recession. She made her West End debut in the comedy The Misanthrope in late 2009. So yeah, she's done more like period type stuff and some stage work. Not anything that I recognize. So, oh, she did an adaptation of Anna Karenina, like you do.
She definitely does a lot of great period piece work.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, she does. She did one of the Jack Ryan movies with Chris Pine, 2014.
That's a good reboot for the Jack Ryan. I actually enjoyed. Harrison Ford did good, but then adding Chris Pine to it was a whole new twist that gave it a little oomph.
She was in The Imitation Game alongside Benedict Cumberbatch, where he
I still need to see that.
So
that's still sitting on my DVD shelf. And Brittany, I'm right there with you. I still need to watch it.
Yeah, she plays a cryptanalyst, Joan Clark, who has worked on the team that helped break the Germans' Enigma code. So she got her second Academy Award nomination for that, for Best Supporting Actress. So, like I said, she makes a short cameo appearance in Pirates of the Caribbean, Dead Men Tell No Tales. So that was in 2017. She was in Disney's adaptation of The Nutcracker and the Four Realms. So, and that's where she's kind of at as far as career-wise. So, she got married in 2013. She's had 2 little girls, Edie and Delia. So, and then she's done some charity work for like Amnesty International, Oxfam. So UN. So that is Keira Knightley. So
Quite the career, and hopefully she gets to do a lot more. I'm sure she will. I don't imagine.
Yeah, I'm sure she will. Just like everything's on hold right now. So
Well, yeah, that is true. But
yeah. Yeah, but she's done mostly film and some theater, not a lot of television. So There's nothing wrong with that. Oh, and of course, being a Brit, she's checked off a large number of the must do at some point in your in your
in your career.
in your career. So
Yes.
some Shakespeare.
Period dramas. The only thing she really hasn't done is anything in Harry Potter or Doctor Who.
Yeah,
Right.
give her time.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Although I don't know if she's necessarily like a sci-fi fantasy type person, other than Pirates of the Caribbean.
True.
So she really has not done everything that almost everything she's done has been just kind of like real world type stuff. So
Yeah.
but
they
you never know.
They say if they do like a historical Doctor Who episode.
That is true. That's one
They
we
could, they could bring her in.
Yep.
Do it.
Hey, the blue box comes a calling. You don't say no. Unless she does want to say no, and then she wants someone to take her place. You've got 4 volunteers right here.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
I can guarantee her to her caliber when it comes to acting, but we'll sure give it a shot.
I can affect a British accent. It probably sucks, but I can do it.
Hey, if Dick Van Dyke can do it in Mary Poppins, so can we.
Yep. or if the TARDIS mysteriously happens to crash land in Wisconsin or Indiana, hey, we'd help the Doctor out.
Exactly.
Come back.
Exactly.
The Doctor's been to Utah,
Really?
so
That's
yeah.
true, except he's been down to the southern part of the state.
Well,
It's like, you need to come up here where the mountains are.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Take the TARDIS skiing.
Something. I mean, I live down at the bottom of a canyon.
Ooh, that's hypocrisy.
Huh?
We don't want to go crash.
Well, no. Okay, not right at the bottom, but like
No.
next to the road that goes up to the ski resorts anyway. But anyway. Well,
do we want to do any more, or are we good?
I think we're probably good.
Good.
That was a good one. So if any of our listeners want to send in feedback about their favorite actor or actress or any of these things that we've talked about, send us feedback at fiveishfangirls@gmail.com. You can go to our website, which is thefiveishfangirls.com, and there you will find links to our social media. You can leave comments on our Facebook or Instagram or even on our YouTube channel. You can also find places to download us, where we are available wherever you find fine podcasts. We're a fine podcast, yes.
Mhm.
And if you want to help support the show, we have a Patreon, we have an Amazon store, we have Ko-fi, and we have a merchandise Redbubble store.
Yes.
So go to our website with like I said, thefivishfangirls.com. You can find links to all that great stuff. Thank you for listening. Thank you for supporting and sending us comments, feedback, and all that great stuff. And hopefully we're helping entertain you during this time and trying to find some fun stuff that's going on. So hope y'all are staying safe and well.
Yep. So, and of course, stay tuned to all our social media, especially YouTube, as that's where the D&D stuff will go. So,
Yes, we're still doing our D&D games. So,
yep. All right. Well, with that, we shall sign off for this week.
This is Brittany Bethlehem saying goodnight.
this is Chrissy saying goodnight from Salt Lake City.
This is Holly from Wisconsin saying good evening.
And this is Rachel in Indianapolis, Indiana. You like pain? Try wearing a corset.
You have been listening to the Fiveish Fangirls podcast. You can find more episodes and information at thefivishfangirls.com. Any and all books, movies, games, and any other forms of media mentioned are owned and operated by the respective copyright holders. No copyright infringement is intended or implied. If you wish to support the show, the easiest way is to leave us a rating and review. More ratings and reviews will make it easier for others to find the show. If you wish to support us monetarily, you can do so at patreon.com/FivishFangirlsPodcast. All money goes towards fees and equipment to keep the show going. For official Fiveish Fangirls merchandise, visit redbubble.com/people/FivishFangirls. We love hearing from our listeners and encourage feedback. You can email us at fivishfangirls@gmail.com. You can also like and follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/FivishFangirls. Thank you so much for listening, and may the squee be with you.